in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, this is Bauski. Welcome to another fun shoutcast with me. As we go through replays from reddit.com/rcastit. If you don't know about the community, it's a fun little subreddit where Starcraft players post their replays and other amateur Starcraft casters do casts for them and their friends and everybody else. Yay! So yeah, if you want your replay casted, go there and send in a replay. And if you want to cast or start casting, go there, and there are plenty of replays for you to cast. But anyway, let's start with the game. So we'll get some names up and we'll get some production and we'll start the game. Here in the top left corner of this amazing map called Belshire Vestige, we have the Red Terran, Auniaut, I guess. And in the bottom right corner as the blue Protoss, we have Rhye. Yeah, both players starting out with their corresponding workers. The Red Terran, let's try to get his name here, Auniaut. The Red Terran Auniaut is getting some double worker action going. For those of you who don't know, these minerals that I am selecting right now are the closer mineral patches, and if you can get double workers going on them, you get a little extra bonus money. Since he has a couple of workers already doing this right now, by the time that he finishes this supply depot, he not only will have enough money to make the barracks really quickly, but yeah, he'll be able to get that SCV production continually going, which does not usually happen if you let the workers just do their own thing. In the bottom right corner, blowing out my ears, we have Rhye with the gateway coming down. If I start randomly shouting at you guys during this cast, I apologize. I forgot to take the volume down from when I was playing the game and when I usually cast, so there's a difference of about 60% volume, so when big exciting things happen, I might start shouting just so that I can hear myself talk, and if I do, I apologize for it. Maybe you guys will find it more exciting, hopefully so. I have been recently playing a lot of Terran, and so what Auniaut is gonna do here interests me a lot, especially because TvP has been one of those very hard matchups for me. Auniaut sending his first Marine to try and destroy this probe, as this probe tries to get a little bit of extra scouting information. But it seems like Auniaut, yeah, is gonna actually probably use this worker to come down here, make that fast CC, and then maybe put down a gas, and God only knows what else he's gonna do. Meanwhile, back at Rhye's base, we have the gateway down, and wow, Rhye has also gone for a very similar build, getting a gateway, then getting the gas, then getting a nexus, and now going for a cybernetics core. As you can see, Rhye or Auniaut has gone for that nexus and has 3 Marines in the front, kind of to try and guard whatever might come here. No gases going down for Auniaut so far. Rhye is putting down his second assimilator already. Curious to see what kind of build Rhye will go for. Rhye is carefully scouting to make sure there isn't any SCV scout from Auniaut outside, and now Rhye is saving up to a bit of money, and at 200 gas now, putting down a pylon. I'm very interested to see what kind of build he's gonna go for. Marines out on the map right now from Auniaut, doing a scouting pattern of their own to make sure that there aren't any proxy pylons that are being put down. SCV in the 4th possible base for Rhye, just chilling. just having a good time. Bunker finally going down for Auniaut, and Auniaut is now at 2 barracks with 2 gas fully loaded. Both players going for a lot of gas. It will be really interesting to see what kind of game they're trying to go for here. We have the Robo down, we have a Sentry out, and we have Warp Gate technology going with the Mothership core finally out. So that is about 300 gas, ladies and gentlemen, and that is exactly what Rhye has used it for. And so with the quick Robo out, will we see a Observer first? Quite possibly. Look at that supply depot. What a crazy supply depot. How cool. If I could zoom in, I would, but I've disabled zooming because of playing video games, or I mean playing 1v1 ladder, because, you know, I'm so good. And, yeah, I forgot to turn that on as well when I started casting today, so apologies. A second apologies for a second mix-up. By the way, very hot in my room. It is summertime. I don't have my fans on, because then my mic gets all, you know, whispery and shit. So apologies to you guys if I start sweating on you through the internet and time. You know how it is. Oh, so a Robo has gone down, and this is interesting. Another gateway going down, but really the most interesting part is the Twilight Council going down, but Auniaut has seen the Twilight Council. So what is he expecting to come out of here? He has definitely seen the Observer. Will he be looking for it when he goes over there? Possibly so. What builds do you know that have a Robo with an Observer as well as a Twilight Council? I'm starting to think Blink Stalkers, but with only 3 gateways, is that quite enough? I don't know, and there is still a lot of gas going down, so it'll be interesting to see what he does. That is definitely not Blink. Instead, he has decided to go for the charge, and the Robo is not being used anymore, so we'll have to see what kind of plan he has. Meanwhile, Auniaut is now sending a very small squad of Marines and Marauders towards this first base. The Stalker is there trying to get some extra information, leaves very quickly, thanks to Stalker's speed, is able to get away very safely. Meanwhile, 2 medevacs have gone down and are being pushed out. Seeing as how this bunker is being cleared, a quick push into the front is about to come as 2 observers are kind of dancing around, and I'm sure Rhye has a good idea of what's about to come. Very quick High Templars have come down, but this is a very dangerous timing for Auniaut as he only has 3 gates that are up so far, 2 more coming down, actually 4 more coming down. Whoa, actually, how many is that? Wow, he really pumped out those gates randomly. But will this be enough? Does he have enough money to guard for this? And it seems like he does. Terran has stim done, as well as having that extra bonus hit points. But there aren't a lot of workers, or there aren't a lot of units for Rhye. And now Auniaut is dropping in the main base here, and I don't know what Auniaut is going to do, especially since suddenly he is a supply block, and yeah, and these guys are just going to go out running. Meanwhile, Observer is going back to Auniaut's third to see if there's anything going on over there, while more workers more units are being rallied to Rhye's front. Rhye does have a pretty good idea of the stuff out here. Once the Observer starts moving, though, it's very dangerous, especially if Auniaut scans and destroys the Observer, so he has to be careful. Auniaut being smart, checking to see if there is a third. If not, I don't know what he's going to do. Another huge push coming in. The Zealots doing some good work here. Doing a bit of damage against these units. But with some micro, a pretty even engagement goes between the 2 workers. And is... oh yeah. Upgrades, looking at upgrades. I don't know what the upgrades were. Is G? Sure, that makes sense. G for grades. Oh yeah, Psionic Storm is done now, so it will be very interesting to see how this next battle goes, as he does have Speed Zealots with a bit of Archon help, as well as the beautiful Storm finally finished. Not exactly enough energy to deal with it. Just kidding. Here's the energy, and here is the first Storm that does a beautiful hit now. And suddenly being pushed into the main. Here are two Stalkers. But will that be enough? No. Speed, the Time Warp going down for Rhye here. And wow, this gigantic amount of sound is really distracting me from commenting correctly right now. But Auniaut is gonna have to kind of go home, as everything is slightly damaged and red and orange. And back at home, Rhye is still doing so well with his 4, 5, 6 High Templars and 1 silly Archon. What would Rhye's best move be here right now? I guess he's gonna push out into the map a little, take a little map space as he takes a third. Meanwhile, Auniaut, who has been busy trying to press in the middle or at Rhye's base, has not actually expanded himself. And now he's at 35 workers to 12 workers on 2 bases. So he's kind of has a lot of extra workers and no third base to saturate his stuff with. Oh, here's a third base. Sadly, it was made at the main, so it's going to take him a while before it gets to the third. Meanwhile, the Nexus is still going down, so both players without a third, bunch of army, and a lot of energy going down for these Templars, which will be great for him in a little while. Some Hellbats being added into the mix. Meanwhile, another scan going down in Rhye's base just to see what's going on. And with the regular timing of Chargelot Zealot, there is a Colossus on the way here. And Auniaut just checks to make sure there aren't any observers watching over him like some kind of creepy stalker guy. And both players now just sitting around as they try to macro up once more. Rhye's base, we have the extended thermal lance going down. We have 3 for weapons going up for Auniaut here, which is great. And of course, getting the Mobius reactor for the Ghost's extra bit of energy for EMP, as well as sniper rounds and cloak. Now the Vikings are going down because this is usually the time to start getting Vikings to counteract the Colossus. And we'll see how many Vikings are going to be made. You have to be careful not to make too many of them. And both players spending their cash pretty well. Rhye with the extra bit of bank, but that is usually not so surprising for Protoss, because you don't necessarily have to keep on producing as Protoss, but just be able to have the money and the production facilities so that you can quickly make units when you need to, which is a better use of money, in my opinion, for Protoss. A 4th quickly going down for Auniaut here. Very good idea. If you're Terran, you kind of need that extra bit of production, so you constantly want to be making more things. Possibly more barracks on the way at some point. Plenty of barracks right now here, and more upgrades going down. Not only that, he's getting vehicle ship plating, which is very interesting. But I guess that makes sense if you want to keep those Vikings along. Yeah, it's just something to do with the armory. Meanwhile, some proxy pylons being put down, and Rhye is feeling like he's at a point with 3 Colossi and a ton of High Templars with energy to start pushing in with his 200 army. Incidentally, Auniaut also has a 200 army. Very good kind of defense from Auniaut, as he has put some missile turrets right there in front of his third. One storm going down, plenty of more storms to go down. The Vikings doing a great job of killing all the Colossus. And a nice EMP has gone down, taking a lot of the High Templar's energies down as well. And now a little bit of scouting information, and Auniaut is now just going for a direct approach. All these Hellbats here just kind of blowing at the Stalkers, and a couple of Marauders in the back were able to do some great damage here. And Auniaut cleans this up very well, sadly losing a lot of the ghosts, but Zealots can't do much with so many Hellbats. And if Auniaut is good about using saving his units, he'll probably be able to up pretty fast. We have right now 170 for unit count and 170 for Auniaut for unit count, and 132 for Rhye. And this is probably the 30 that he just put up is a quick add-on he made from the gateways. So the gateways will be on a cooldown, or the war gates will be on a cooldown as he waits for more. Were Zealots the right choice? I'm not sure, because all of these Hellbats were able to maintain. And now with these 2 extra ghosts with the EMPs, ooh, it's dangerous. It's a dangerous place to be. These Vikings kind of not as useful as they used to be. Thankfully, more Colossus coming down, so they'll have something to hit at. And meanwhile, Auniaut is probably getting more Marauders, more Ghosts, more Marines as well. So everything going excellently in his favor as he gets nearer and nearer to Rhye's base. Here is another engagement coming here. Auniaut doing a bit of a push here, or Rhye doing a little bit of push, and Auniaut scaring him away. These ghosts, very useful, and these scans are turning out to be very helpful as well. As Auniaut decides to push in from the natural side, and these Vikings are waiting here. And these ghosts right in the middle, they're going to have to be careful as well. The Vikings now going in to take care of the Colossi. These ghosts are in a dangerous position. He's going to have to run them away. One EMP going down and a storm going down as well. And these Howlings are still alive, but thankfully another awesome storm going down. But not enough things here. And these Vikings are finally going to land, turning into less than useful Marines. But with the Marauders and the Hellbat composition, the amount of DPS that they're going to be able to do is quite fierce, as more Hellbats, more Marines, and a couple more Ghosts are on their way to deal with it. Hellbats being mismicroed right now, though, and all of the Hellbats go down, and the Vikings do kill another Colossi. And the heir is going to have to run home as Auniaut tries to rally all of his stuff together somewhere. Where are you going? Where are you going? You're going right there, right under the observer. Very nice place to put an observer. It would be possibly very hard to see it, I'm guessing. Oh yeah, really impossible to see, thanks to this little ramp here. Let's check the unit count right now. We have 64 to 58 workers, and with this natural being down, and probably the main all mined out, Auniaut is in a pretty good place, as Rhye had to take his 4th here and his 5th here, spreading him apart, which is very dangerous for a late game Protoss army, especially because they rely so heavily on a death ball, whereas with Auniaut's army, as he's repairing everything, they don't have to worry so much, especially since they can drop heavily, very heavily at the end. More gases going down for Rhye. Ignore that ping, that was me. And yeah, both players just trying to get a lot more stuff up. If we look at the worker, or I mean the unit count right now, we have 195 to 161. Huge kills on both sides, but as you can see, because Rhye has lost so many important units, he's low on a lot of gas, and it's hard for him to up his army once more. In fact, he's having to go heavy on the gateway units, which at the end of the game is not so hot, especially when you're looking at something like Marauder Hellbat. Tons of ghosts now in the army. Very interesting kind of style. I've never seen this before, but I have read on Reddit that this kind of works, so it'll be interesting to watch as I see Auniaut do whatever he does as he does. 181 to 200 now for worker count. One scan going down, not sure where it went down. Another scan going down here. Auniaut definitely knows where Rhye's army is, and since he knows, he's able to start doing things like this. And seeing as how it's a Death Ball army, mostly gateway units, but still very slow when it comes to dealing with attacks like this. Oh, the ghost kind of scaring Rhye's army away with its possible EMPs, and now Auniaut is running backwards. Meanwhile, all of Rhye's workers are now leading Auniaut back to a showing where the other nexus is. The Death Ball army of Rhye is now where his base used to be. Very sad. And with these middle rocks taken down, Auniaut's just going to have a lot more freedom of movement. Auniaut wants to be careful here, because as long as he keeps exchanging bases and armies with Rhye, he'll be in a much better place. Thank God to the Sim City here, these zealots are going to be taken down very easily. Good repair timing by Auniaut, and another engagement might possibly happen here. The ghosts staying back. The stalkers coming in to start attacking the Vikings. Ooh, the ghosts are in a dangerous place, and the main army is now stemming to come in. And now these ghosts are, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but the Vikings will be able to take down the Colossi. A lot of the main army being hurt, and suddenly Rhye is on the front again as Auniaut is going to have to run away. And this is what happens a lot with TVP games. One good engagement from the Death Ball can really lead to a completely different course as Rhye is able to just trade so much more effectively against that kind of army. Thankfully, Rhye doesn't have a lot of big, heavy units, but there are a lot of zealots here, and Auniaut is going to have to be very careful with how he deals with this. A lot of Hellbats coming in right now, and Rhye now pushing back, dealing a lot of damage to Auniaut's base, taking down this planetary fortress, and these tons of zealots are just massacring everything, eating everything away. And Auniaut is kind of stuck at his natural, waiting for more guys to pop out before he can do any kind of huge damage. Now, if we look at the army counts, we have, or unit counts, we have 195 to 166. Once Auniaut has been put in this kind of situation, it's very difficult for Auniaut to get back in. And that's why while you have the upper what now? Upper hand? That's it. That's why while you have the upper hand as the Terran in a TVP, you really have to make super duper amounts of extra production, such as this extra starport, possibly more of these things, and transition quickly, if you can, into something like mech. Because once you have a mech army, you can trade much more effectively against this kind of army. Another possible thing you can do as well, if you're in Auniaut's position, is use the slowness of a bigger Death Ball to your advantage by taking the attack to their main base. Auniaut is being very cautious right now and suddenly kind of throwing away his ghosts here. And nice feedback's coming in, and Rhye is able to push in a good deal and do some damage. Good trades going on. But sadly, Auniaut's army is slowly teetering away as Rhye is once again at 200. Oh, going back to the production. Muy sorry for not being on it for so long. Another Colossus coming out, more Hellbats coming down, and some Vikings going up. But are Vikings really the answer right now? I do not know. I do not know, especially with just one Colossus out here. Vikings don't seem as necessary as the ghosts do. How many ghosts do we have? We have 2 ghosts. Meanwhile, we have 5 Templars, High Templars, from Rhye, which can be a very dangerous situation. Now, one Zealot being made and being taken to Auniaut's 4th, 5th base here, but with a planetary fortress, the Zealot's going to be taken down rather easily, and Rhye is just making his money right now. This is especially nice for Rhye, since he doesn't have to worry about making units constantly. He can just make whatever he wants once this army is gone, and probably re-up much quicker than Auniaut, which puts Auniaut in a pretty dangerous situation. Hell of a lot of Vikings there for Rhye right now, or I mean Auniaut, and only one Colossus being seen, so we'll see what's gonna happen. Oh, there it is. There's a nice drop. These are the kind of drops that have to be made while you're in Auniaut's position. Rhye is going to take this as a key to take down this 5th for Rhye right now, or Auniaut, but this puts Auniaut in an even better position, as he can just start destroying the main and use this extra army to possibly take this base down, which would be the wisest choice, but you know, either way, whatever he wants to do, Auniaut decides to reposition his army into a better place right now. The Ghost, seeing exactly where this army is, starts throwing down the EMPs, getting a lot of that High Templar stuff, leaving the High Templars pretty useless. Now with the strong barracks push, all these gateway units really can't do a lot, and with the stim, they're able to keep on following down and keep at the High Templars, doing a massive amount of damage to Rhye's army. And in the meanwhile, I guess the other drop has been taken care of, amazingly so. I thought with three medevacs they do a lot of damage, but I guess with with some good photon cannon placement, Auniaut's drop was taken care of. But because of nice placement he was able to get ahead. These Vikings now are just kind of hanging around, and in fact, at this point, he could kind of start using the Vikings to start harassing in corners like that. Ooh, this is a dangerous place for Auniaut to be, as he sends his Vikings and his everything in a split way, losing a bunch of ghosts here right now, and the army is in a horrible position, not being able to work together, and nice storm going on down on the majority of the army here, and because of these Vikings doing nothing, Auniaut is once again put on the back foot, and Rhye is now at 130, 40, 50 unit count to only 45 from Auniaut. Apparently, a pause happened? Who knows? I can't tell. This is a replay for me. So Rhye, because of something, a misclick from Auniaut, has lost a horrible amount of units, and suddenly Rhye takes the upper hand and kills Auniaut in a very anticlimactic finale, and Rhye decides to finish the job by staying in the game and destroying everything else. That last battle, that was really sad. I'm very sad about that, actually. Auniaut had such a good upper hand, and I kind of know what he was thinking of doing. He just kind of moved towards this nexus, and then everything kind of broke to pieces as Rhye's army was just in the right place as Auniaut moved in, and everything just split apart. And that partially happened because he broke these rocks in the middle of the game. Because the mapping totally, completely changes for Auniaut's army when that happens. And yeah, that was sad. I'm sorry, Auniaut. Both of the players did a really good job holding on like that. Really back and forth match. Great job from both people. And of course, Rhye had that huge bank that he was able to go back on. And so, you know, having a couple Archons, having some DTs, having those tons of Zealots, and just a couple of High Templars, you can really stick in a game as long as you need to. Not to mention having some Stalkers can always help. So, good job on Rhye's part. Good job on Auniaut's part. And I hope you guys enjoyed the game. yeah, I'll be casting all week, and hope you guys follow me and watch it, and blah 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 blah, and go on Rcasted. Yeah, that's the biggest thing. If you want your games casted, go on Rcasted and send them the replays, and very cool people that are much better at casting will cast it for you. And if you want to start casting, well, just download OBS, which is a free stream video thing, and you can just instantly start casting like I do. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it. Guys, later.